Another edition of Scoopy Talks. I am your host, Brandon Scoopy Robinson, joined by Hard in the Paint's own David Grubb. Brother, what's going on?
Lock, as you know, I love it. So I couldn't be happier.
You split time at MLB Bro. You're also part of the broadcast team for Tulane men's basketball and also at SB Nation's The Bird Writes. When do you sleep?
When I can, you know this thing. If you aren't doing multiple things, I just don't feel right. I mean, I have so many different patterns and thoughts that I want to get those out. And I do radio 4 days a week too, from 4 to 7 every day in New Orleans. So, it's just the more opportunities you get to flex that muscle, the better you get. And then I think also you just, for me mentally, that exercise of going from sport to sport, it keeps me aware and it keeps me, well read and well versed so that I can have those conversations when it's time to have them.
Do you think people are going overboard with Zion Williamson's weight?
In ways, yes. Yes. There's no doubt that Zion is not in peak basketball shape. So that's not a question. Because I think he's not showing the things that we've seen him at his peak. The quick second jump that made him almost supernatural. You see flashes of it, but that's one thing. I do not ever think it's appropriate to go into the personal. I don't know what Zion's motivations are. I don't know him well enough as a person to say what he is and is not doing. I think that if you're a beat reporter and you get information and you report it as such, that's well within your job description. I think when people start to extrapolate and make stories or memes and try to put different things in his life, and you could go just associating his weight even to the things that occurred with him during the off season. I think people will do that and have done that. And I think it's inappropriate and it's unfair because we know two things about Zion Williamson. He wants to play. If you've been around Zion for 5 minutes, he wants to play basketball. And the other thing is he's a young person and he's not the first young person to have some kind of issue on or off the court. And I think it's gotten to the point where people enjoy building up and tearing down. They always have, but they have such an easy way to do it and such access to it. And there's no repercussions for 99% of the folks who do it. Now, if you or I go into a locker room and we say those things, we got to deal with it. But most people on a day-to-day basis don't. So they feel comfortable saying them, or they feel like they're on a big enough perch where they can. But I'm not going to ever get in and judge a person unless they've given me that firsthand knowledge or I've gotten it from a source close enough that I can verify and prove that I know what I'm talking about.
That's fair. That's fair. Let me ask you a question. When Zion was coming into the NBA, did you ever buy into those LeBron comparisons?
No, because I don't think that they were appropriate. You look at their games and they're completely different. It took me a while, but I got some validity out of Gilbert Arenas' first assessment that Zion was not primarily a power player in the natural sense. He was more of a wing player. And yeah, the more I started to pay attention, he doesn't have a traditional post-up game. He's not a power guy like a Charles Barkley. What he is a supernatural scorer with this touch that we've never seen for somebody his size. He's not even like a Larry Johnson type at his size. It's very different for Zion. He doesn't finish over and through people constantly. He finishes around you. It's a lot of skill and movement with Zion and balance. So when I look at him as an elite scorer, like in the mold of an Allen Iverson almost. Like Zion is almost an Allen Iverson type player where he is so unique that you have to construct a roster that is unique to him. You have to understand what it is that he can and cannot do. And you have to give up certain things. There's some things you were never going to get out of Allen Iverson. You know what I mean? Like you weren't going to get a whole bunch of 60% from the floor shooting nights. You give that up. You deal with that in other ways. And I think that's my thing with Zion. LeBron is a player who implements and makes everyone adjust to him in that regard because he's going to ruin things. Zion makes everybody adjust just by his presence, his mere presence. And that's a much different game.
Yeah, when I was in grad school at Hofstra, we used to do a lot of open gym with the undergrads, the law students, and other journalism school students. And I had some friends that were on the then Hofstra football team that would play an open gym, and I used to laugh and joke with them. I hate playing with y'all because y'all want to play football like on the basketball court. Like, stop hanging on me. Get like jokes, of course, but like to me, Zion is like that. He's a football player playing basketball that has, but can hang with the basketball players. Like, you've seen Nate Robinson do it. You've seen, I mean, LeBron played football, but then focus on basketball. But for Zion, is different because you're playing against Ray Lewis that has a handle. Yeah.
It's not that he's not going to be Sean Kemp. He's not going to jump up and just wow you on a play-to-play basis with his physicality as far as dominating you that way. Zion is much more of a relentless, like all night. He's like a running back. You know what I mean? Like by the time he gets to like Earl Campbell, by the time he gets to 30 carries, there's nothing you can do with that. The defense cannot deal with that anymore. And Zion is coming at you in his best games. That's what he's doing. He's coming right at you because defensively, you can't stay in front of him. He's going to push you back, like you said. And then you're either going to have to foul him and he's going to get to the line double-digit times. And that's what makes him special. Is like it's just a relentless force of nature. When Zion is at is really going. It's just power, power, power. And there aren't many people in the modern NBA who want to deal with that, like who can deal with that physicality on a night-to-night basis.
When it's all said and done, when you looked at Pau Gasol's time in the NBA, people know him as a Grizzly, but he's revered as a Laker. Are we at that point in Anthony Davis's career, comparatively?
Yeah, he's going to be known as a Laker. That's where he's got his championship, both with the NBA title and the first in-season tournament. There's a legacy there that isn't going to be in New Orleans. And he hasn't, maybe he'll be one of those people that can come back and figure out how to redeem himself one day in the eyes of the fans. But I think, guys like Chris Paul, or even a Zion Williamson or Brandon Ingram at this stage, they're viewed in a much more favorable light. Of Drew Holiday, no matter what he does, I think with the Bucks or, now with the Celtics, Drew Holiday's is a Pelican, like as far as Pelicans fans are concerned. Anthony Davis is not part of the family in that regard. And that's fine. That's sports, because there are a lot of nomads. Like Shaq really ain't Orlando anymore. Like Superman is Dwight Howard as far as those people are concerned. It's not Shaquille O'Neal. If you rank their top 5 players, he might not even be in most people's idea of the Orlando Magic top 5 anymore. So, I think that's time. And with some people, wherever your glory is where you get it. And Anthony Davis is happy. I'm happy for him. I never wanted anything against Anthony Davis, and I don't think most people did. It was about the way he left. And he still has never said thank you. To those people who did show up all those nights. I think that hurts a lot of people. There's an ongoing joke whenever athletes leave New Orleans. This one said goodbye before or said thank you before Anthony Davis did.
Wow. That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the good news, brother. You're off the hot seat.
But it's never that hot, man. I'm always ready. I'm always ready.
David Grubb joins us over Scoopy Talks, brother. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Amen.